Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the charts that are behind me, which are of a few EV charging station stocks. And so I am first going to start with ChargePoint, ticker symbol CHPT, which closed at a price of $1.40 on the day, Wednesday, June 26th, being up just over 8.5% on the day. So looking pretty good there. And so just looking at the chart, I'm going to try to go over all three of these briefly because I just don't have that much time. So make sure you like the video if you do enjoy this kind of content. And so here, looking at ChargePoint, the thing that stands out to me is that we have potentially put in a higher low, which is potentially pretty good. And so I do have this red uptrend going back to the low of $1.21 hit on April 22nd, having basically a touch point a few days later, and then the other pivot point being from yesterday, June 25th, when we hit a low of $1.28. We did get a pretty massive move to the upside today. However, on Thursday, we saw a drop down of over 7%. So maybe the green move that we saw today is not as exciting as we had hoped, but I do think that we have reclaimed a lot of what we lost yesterday. So I do think that is looking really good. Also, from this retracement that I have drawn up here, going from that low of $1.21 up to the high of 206 hit on May 14th, we can see the 786 here at a price of right around $1.39. We closed just above it today, so we did reclaim that level. That is effectively like the bottom line for this Fibonacci retracement. It didn't look so good yesterday when we lost it, but apparently that seems like it was a fake out, as the news about the Rivian Volkswagen deal could be sparking some interest for the EV charts, the EV stocks. And so that might be what we're seeing here, a response in that respect, that the EV charging stations are going to be going higher, and that ChargePoint hit a bottom, a great discount yesterday at a low of $1.28. And so what I would like to see is, of course, this continuing higher to the upside. But I do think some of these levels that I have marked up here will be corresponding with some resistance, like this golden pocket here, the level between the 65% retracement and the 618. That does correspond with these two bottoms here, as well as the sideways consolidation here, and a little bit of sideways consolidation here as well. So I think there's going to be some resistance there with that trading that had happened then. There's probably going to be some more trading happening there on the way up, maybe a little bit of a pause before a continuation to the next level up, which would be the 50% retracement, which is at a price of $1.63.5, corresponding with the bottoms here, really the middle of that M from that double top that we formed before we saw this massive trail of red candles to the downside. But, getting beyond that, there are some other levels that do stand out, but I think getting up to $2 a share, or right around 206 being that high from May 14th, $2 does correspond with right about where the cursor is here now. And that would be nice to be seeing a close higher than the high hit on June 12th, which was at a price of $1.97. So I think for many reasons it will be good to be seeing a close above $2 a share. But then I also do have this purple line up here, which was, effectively the neckline of this head and shoulders pattern, although we did get a break below it here. And actually, yeah, that was after the right shoulder had been formed. We did get a more than measured move to the downside. And actually, if I do that right now, just to give you an idea what I'm talking about, measurement from the top of that head to the neckline, move it over to where we broke. And that actually brings us to right around current price. So I think it's pretty interesting that we are at that level now. Maybe the values that we saw over here, the prices below $1.38, were, great discounts, and we are about to see some moves to the upside. So I would look for that, and I think that we could eventually, maybe in July, be getting back up to testing that purple uptrend, which would be getting to around $2.10 or $2.20, but maybe higher. Maybe this thing is primed to squeeze. Maybe we see $2.50, or right around there in the upcoming month. So look for that. But then the next one that I'm going to go over is BLNK charging, ticker symbol BLNK. This one, I get asked about it a lot, always providing feedback on it. And so I did want to include it here in the video on ChargePoint. And the thing that I pointed out in my comment yesterday was that this might be a bear flag. So I'm a little bit concerned about this one. Also seeing the nice move that we saw with ChargePoint up over 8.5%. We saw actually down move of 3.25% today, closing at a price of $2.69. Although we have seen green candles the past few trading days. Today, the red candle, whereas with ChargePoint going up, this was a little bit discouraging. But, I do think that maybe we're holding support. Maybe we're holding this purple uptrend, which again, is like a neckline for a head and shoulders over here. This one did not play out like ChargePoint. So, just because they are EV charging station stocks, they don't have to play out the exact same. There might be some sympathy plays within them. If one gets good news, the others might follow along, but they don't always have to act the same. And I think this is a nice example of this one acting differently than ChargePoint. But with that being said, if ChargePoint is starting to look bullish, if we're starting to form a bottom, maybe there is a bear flag here and this is going to break lower. So I think it's good to be cautious of that. But, one thing that might be a little bit encouraging is the golden pocket here ranging from like 265 to 269. We are right at, that level above the 618 right now. So maybe that is acting as support. However, something that concerns me a little bit about it with ChargePoint, here we saw a lower high corresponding with lower highs in the RSI, whereas if we're looking at BLNK, we saw a higher high in the stock price, yet a lower high in the RSI. So that's bearish divergence. We definitely saw a retrace, whereas with ChargePoint, we also saw a retrace. So, maybe that bearish divergence doesn't mean so much. But with that being said, I think that this could be a bear flag. It's consolidating what looks like above these levels. But since we saw a higher high here, I should probably adjust this high from the high hit on May 14th, which was 352. I should probably adjust that to 371 so we get a better idea of how those levels line up with current price. And we're actually trading below them. So, while I feel pretty excited about ChargePoint, I have to say that whenever I see this pattern, I always get bits of hope that, hey, it's forming a bottom, it's going to go higher, but then it just consolidates and eventually breaks. And so, I just think that this is a tough one. I want to say that this is going to be going up higher, like I feel like ChargePoint is set up to do, but that could be negated as well. We could break below the low of yesterday of 128. Maybe that could go lower. Maybe BLNK could break below the low from last Friday on the 21st, which was 261. So I think this is like pretty precarious, and I think the close that would make me feel much better about this is getting above the high from June 20th, so last Thursday. That was a high of 282. So if we could close above 282, I'd feel much better about that. Also, the high from yesterday was 282. The high from today, 282. We're wicking up to that level, but we're not closing above it. There aren't enough buyers to push it higher. So this, to me, it feels like it's a bear flag. So I feel like it's good to exercise caution, prepare for the best, or hope for the best that this will be going higher, but prepare for the worst. This could break this level and go down to 250. So just please be cautious with BLNK, because I don't think all of the EV stocks are going to be trading the same, as we don't really see that here. Looking at this head and shoulders pattern, time frame being the same, ChargePoint traded way worse than BLNK in the same time frame. Same head and shoulders kind of pattern there, played out more than the measured move with ChargePoint, but didn't with BLNK. And so maybe BLNK needs to overcorrect while ChargePoint needs to overcorrect, but to the upside. So something to consider there. And I was not going to include EVGO in this video, but I just looked at the chart and I felt like I had to do it because I haven't really been paying attention to it. I've been focusing more on ChargePoint and BLNK. And with this, I had drawn this purple downtrend here. Looks like there's an inverse head and shoulders pattern there. I don't know when I drew this in the last video I did on EV charging station stocks. This measured move puts the target price at 230, and we're right at that level. We're testing it. It just looks beautiful relative to the drawings that I did before. So I'm really impressed with that as far as not all of my charting plays out as I would expect or hope it to, but this is just like to the T. Pretty beautiful. So I'm wondering, maybe this is to signify that EV charging station stocks will be going higher, whether that's EVGO, ChargePoint, BLNK. This measured move could suggest that. And that would also correspond with, a double top over here effectively. So I think this one could be met with some resistance there. So do please be cautious with that. Maybe we get a rejection, as we have been getting these massive wicks to the upside getting effectively rejected from that neckline. So maybe we consolidate here, maybe form a handle to this cup that we just formed, which is the right inverted shoulder. Or maybe we, form another little cup here before breaking out. So we haven't broken that level. That is something that we need to be doing. So maybe we see a pullback in all of these, a little bit of, like pulling the slingshot back to launch them into higher levels. So do brace for any downside with all three of these, but prepare for some upside, because I think that we might be due for it, whether it's with EVGO, whether it's with ChargePoint being at this potential double bottom here, and with BLNK, while I feel like this thing just pops up these bear flags, and I always cling on to hope that they're going to hold, that it's going to go higher. Just have a plan for if it breaks lower, and that would be the low of 261. Getting a close below that would suggest to me that it's going to 250. Maybe it's even coming back to 222. Maybe that doesn't happen though, and maybe in the next couple of days we start to see some strength and get that close that we desperately need above 282. So that's what I'm hoping for. But again, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. But those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching.